Welcome to the Ricardo's Rules of Resilience podcast. I'm your co-host, Coach Alton, and I'm joined by Coach Ricardo. Today, we have an awesome guest for you guys, the 2023 Journey Coach of the Year, and someone who's been with us since the beginning for over 4 years now, Vicki Morgan. Thank you for joining us.
And our head coach.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
So you get to be our first ever, guest on the program. Couldn't be more appropriate first guest, our head coach and someone who's, as Coach Alton said, you opened up with us on the grand opening challenge.
Did, yeah.
Came in just jumping through the door of your own free will.
Yeah, sure did.
How'd that go?
Yeah, that I came in very reluctantly. Had some friends pretty much literally drag me in. Yeah, should I tell a story of how that?
Yeah, definitely.
I had been working out in other facilities throughout town and kind of ended up with a group of girls, and we've been doing some weightlifting strength training, and they had saw that Journey was opening, and this challenge was happening, and they wanted to form a team, and I'm like, I don't know. So I looked up Journey, and there was these little clips of like the warm up and stuff, and there was a portion of it where, they were doing that little, when we say twist it out, and I'm like, if we're doing that, I'm not going to that place. I'm not doing any of that. And anyways, we came in and did the challenge, and they left and I stayed. I was myself, and actually there was one other person that was on that team that she stayed for a while, and I'm still here. So I'm not doing that turned into 4 years later. Here I am.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about how you went from, member to coach. You stayed on originally helping us in a certain role.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to talk about that a little later. Resilience is, as we've said, as Coach Alton said, when we opened up, it's the ability to withstand and recover from difficulties. And we know that pregnancy, childbirth, the other early childhood years can be a super tough time. And you chose to deal with that in a very unusual way. I've never heard anyone say this, but you decided you were going to run marathons.
Yeah. Yeah, so I kind of got into the running world after my first child was born, and then ran many halves, and then decided I was going to go do the full thing. And yeah, I ran 4, I'd like to say, after each child, but that kind of started after my second one. So I ran a couple right after Mallory, and then I ran one after my third, and then ran one after my last one, my Brian. And then after that one, I never ran again. So I was probably in the running realm for about 10 years is what I did for my fitness. Racked up a lot of miles. So yeah.
And some of those miles were in a little less than great condition.
Some of those, training for that first marathon. My sister, who lives in South Carolina, we decided we were going to run a marathon in February in Myrtle Beach, which would require us to be running your marathon running, and training kind of takes over your life. And I still can't believe I did that with littles, and my husband was I was fortunate enough that I don't want to say he allowed me to do it, but he was pretty supportive of that. And so yeah, there were many long runs in the snow and all of that, and then you get to Myrtle Beach in February, and we drove down with a toddler and a 9-month-old, and Chris came with me, and so Myrtle Beach, you think in February it's going to be nice. Well, it decided it was going to snow for the first time in 10 years, and get to the venue, pick up our packets. We're all excited, nervous, and then they canceled the marathon. They canceled it. And that was I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, I cannot, like all this time that we put into this and effort, and we drove here, and it literally, like, they got canceled. It was a dusting. In Indiana terms, it was a dusting, but they're not even equipped for a dusting down there. So we went back to the house and cried, and then we were like, I'm not letting this training, because there's you have to taper, and there's all this stuff to running a marathon, and so we looked, and there was going to be one the next weekend in Jacksonville, Florida, and which is about a 5-hour drive from where my sister lives. But I ended up finding a really very affordable plane ticket from Fort Wayne or India, I can't remember where I flew out of, and flew to Jacksonville the next weekend and ran my marathon then. So yeah, it was quite the experience. And then when we ran that one, my sister ended up getting sick, and she had a terrible respiratory cold, and that was another struggle of not wanting to leave her because we were going to finish together, and her telling me to go. And anyways, but the first one was an adventure, and the next two were good, and the last one was really terrible. And that kind of ended my running as far as that kind of mileage. But
just like 4 kids was enough.
4 marathons was enough. And I honestly don't think, if someone asked me, I might have a half in me, but I don't think I have a full in me anymore.
It's an incredible time commitment, as you mentioned.
It is.
And, your husband, shout out to Chris for being so supportive. And he works a very demanding job as a construction manager, and to come home and say, give me these little ones while you take off for
2-3 hours. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a Saturday morning. Oh, I think back and I'm like, oh, was that selfish of me? I don't know.
Well, the things we need to do for our mental and physical health sometimes require us to rearrange life. And working together as husband and wife so that you can both be healthy mentally, physically. It's important. It's give and take, right? And you made it through.
We did make it through. Yeah, we did.
Yeah. It really shows commitment and resilience to push through, even though it wasn't the ideal circumstances. Like, who can forecast it snowing in Myrtle Beach? And also it's a great example of it's a great example of one of Ricardo's rules of resilience, which is you can't say can't unless it's followed by yet, and pushing through with that. Another great example of that is your journey to being a coach and to eventually being the coach of the year for the Journey franchise. So tell us a little bit about that transformation and what it took to kind of get you into that position.
Well, early on when after the challenge was over and I wanted to stick around, and Ricardo and I had talked about what we could do. And, it was always that, well, I need coaches. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm not doing that. You're going to have to find something else for me to do. And so I worked on, I helped get people in here, kind of marketing, I guess you would say, or
challenge recruiting.
Yeah, challenge recruiting, and getting people in. And then COVID hit, and we kind of clawed our way through that. And then when we came back, was that May, June? I can't remember.
We reopened Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
We were closed 9 weeks from like March 20 something to May 20 something.
Yeah. And up till then I was still trying to, recruit people in. And then it came July when you were going to go on vacation. And I remember you calling me and just giving me that, well, I really want to take my family my kids on vacation. And
let's hammer this up a little
bit. That's really how it was. And
I was the only coach. Yeah.
Yes, you were the only coach.
We reopened. I was the only coach left, and the only coach we could afford. And so, Travis Barnes, the founder, he actually he had taken us through in a team all the owners, we had these meetings, daily staff meetings during COVID, and he had us played a thing about a guy saying, how do you signs of burnout? And then he asked each one of us, do you see any signs? And I said, well, yeah, one of them, one of the signs was, do you resent when people talk about vacation? And it's like, oh yeah, because here I am grinding it out from 3 a.m. till 8 p.m. and day after day, and people are going on vacation. And he said, well, Ricardo, I just want to say that we've been able to train members to fill in. Maybe they won't be full-fledged coaches, but we can train members, and members might be understanding if you want to try to get family vacation in. And I called you, and you were like, sure, no problem, I'm all over it, right?
That's what I said. I kind of was, well, anytime anybody asks me to do something that I'm not comfortable with, I do a lot of whining and moaning and groaning. And I'm like, I guess, but for 1 week, I'm only doing this for 1 week. And it's because, and I said, my New Year's commitment this year was to step out of my comfort zone, to step out of my box. And so I'll do this for 1 week, but, basically don't think I'm going to be doing it any longer than that week that you're gone. Once again.
And you trained.
And I trained.
You trained and you got ready, and we did the 1 week. And I still have the photo of you and another member there, making it work.
Yeah.
And on our way back, it was Sunday. We were supposed to come in. Alton was helping and co-coaching at that time, and I got the text on the Sunday as we're driving back that said, hey, you guys are probably going to be kind of tired from your trip. We'll go ahead and take the morning for you as well. Remember that?
I do remember that. I do. Yeah, because
I'd already gotten the bug.
I'd already gotten the bug. It it didn't take too long. And yeah, I just something about being on the floor and being with people, and something I didn't think that I would ever be comfortable with. But and I can never explain to anybody what that feeling was, or still even now, like what that feels like. I don't like getting up in front of people. It makes me super nervous. It's still getting up in front of my peers. I mean, holy cats, I had to give that speech in front of you guys who I've known, and I'm like, meh. But there's just something different about being out there, and yeah. Never say never. You just gotta do it sometimes to realize that. Yeah. Wow. You think about that. Think of some of the great opportunities that are missed because of being fearful, really, or stepping out of that comfort zone.
Yeah. Yeah. Your best life begins where your comfort zone ends.
Yeah.
And, one of the rules is, you only can use the word can't if it's followed by yet. And, you were someone, like you said, you're not in front of people. You even asked me one time, would you say that I'm mouthy? And, you went from the person who would never want to be in front of people to, because you were willing to step out of your comfort zone and say, well, I can't do that yet, and went for it. Then you found this new passion and this new drive, and it went from 1 week only to, I could probably cover Monday morning for you. And here we are 4 years later.
Yeah.
And you do it 3 mornings a week, multiple classes.
Yeah.
Now, what a change, all because you were willing to say yes to something that was crazy uncomfortable. What a lesson for our members and listeners. Do you ever use that same lesson to push the members?
Oh, good question. I don't think specifically. No. No.
No? You use your own example?
So. No, but I feel like when we've had some coach interviews, and I've used that as an example of, especially if they're a little more introverted, that listen, if you think that you can't get out there and do that, you might be really mistaken, because
you should become
you could
coach of the year for the entire franchise. That's not just our place here. You coach of the year of all the coaches in all the locations, all the franchise, multiple states. You were chosen.
Yeah.
So you went from this reluctant, I can't do this, I don't get in front of people, to coach of the year.
Yeah. Which was a surprise when I was there because we just went out there, Alyssa and I, and then, just, well, all of a sudden my name. And then, guys, I had to get up and I had to do a speech and I wanted to melt into the floor. I can lead all you guys, 20 some of you in a session, but to get up and give a acceptance speech or whatever, I literally I wanted to die. But I made it through.
You made it.
Said something really stupid, probably. I know I did. And then, gosh.
Hey,
anyways.
So true. Nobody remembers the speech. But
Nobody remembers the speech. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. So as with being a coach for now almost coming up on 4 years, you've seen a lot of different fitness journeys, people in different places with different types of goals. So what are kind of those reoccurring things that you see in those successful fitness journeys that people have?
I think it's the people that, super consistent. I feel like you need to, the ones that make it a priority, you schedule it, you have this is like, listen, I'm going to come in, I'm going to be in the morning crew, or I'm going to be in the afternoon crew, and you set yourself to that, you commit yourself to that, you hold yourself accountable to that. I think definitely the food journaling. I even find that out for myself when I'm food journaling, and I know this, and we all kind of fall astray. And then when we're back in our challenges and we're food journaling, you're like, oh, hey, weird. This really works.
Who knew?
Who knew? And those are the things too that I'll hear from people when we're, weighing in once a week. And like, I know I'm supposed to be doing this. And I know when I'm doing this, this is when, I'm doing my best. Or if they're disappointed in the weighing room, well, have you been food journaling? Well, no. Well, there we go. And so, and I think having the support system, the accountability, all of that combined, I think just makes for a good experience and good results when all of those are consistent.
So for our listeners out there, just want to highlight what Coach Vicki's telling you, that she's saying consistency is key. You're making the appointment and you're booking it. You're not just, I'll fit in a workout here or there, but you're telling us, am I hearing you right? This is part of your routine. I'm a 4:30 a.m. people, I'm a 9 a.m. or I'm a 6 p.m. person. This is what I do. Other things have to get out of the way. Is that what you're saying?
Sure, because I mean, if I don't do a morning workout, if I'm not here early in the morning, and I'll say to myself when I'm laying in bed, okay, well, I have time this afternoon to go in. Inevitably, something happens, especially, with the kids or whatever. And then I don't make that evening workout. And then I feel sometimes then you're down on yourself, or what happens is it kind of is a snowball effect. You miss a week and then you're like, well, forget it. I missed a week. Now I'm going to fudge on my nutrition, and I'm, well, when am I going to get back in? I just, really feel like you need to kind of have that schedule and stick with it, Yeah. No one regrets. I mean, it's hard getting up in the morning, I know, but I've never gotten out of a workout and thought, man, I wish I was still that.
Well, the reverse is true, right? And hit that snooze button and say, I'll go in the afternoon. And then it's, at some point in the day, you're like, man, I wish I would have done that this morning.
Right. So.
Well, that resilience of, withstanding hard things, getting up in the morning, making it happen, pushing other things out of the way. You've come through some tough times. A couple of years ago, you had an abdominal surgery, and you just really weren't able to move like you're used to. And that really was a tough time for you. Would you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so a couple years ago, 2 or 3, I think it's about 2, I had I had a partial hysterectomy, and so part of that was not, you have quite a bit of downtime where you can't be doing much of anything, and I think it was mentally for me tougher than it was physically. I feel like I was in a couple of meetings, and then a few of you had reached out to me. I didn't really realize, but like, hey, are you okay? You're just not being yourself. And when I kind of thought, well, yeah, like I couldn't go in, and I couldn't, like you said, I couldn't move and do the things that I wanted to do. And you feel like you're kind of set back, kind of starting all over again. And so, but I couldn't do a lot of the things in here, but when they told me that I think even early on, I could start walking. And so I would just start walking. And even if it was to the end of the driveway and back, I'd do that a few times. And then I would just make it where I was walking multiple times a day just to keep something up and something going. And then, by the time I was able to get back in here and work out and partially do some things, I feel like maybe not as quick as I wanted it to be, but it wasn't too long after that where I felt like I was kind of back to being where I was at. But yeah, I mean, definitely mentally, that had me down for a little bit. So
Yeah, and your exercise becomes part of our mental health. And
mhm.
when you're not able to do that, it really does take you down. And we talk about, and you're reiterating, I love it when you're giving real life examples of things we talk about with clients all the time. Do what you can, not what you can't, right? And so you did what you could and didn't just let go and didn't just give up, but you kept going and did what you could. And eventually you were able to crawl back up out of that hole in a way that, and now no one would ever know, right?
Right.
Because you didn't give up.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah, I feel as though those times are great opportunities to learn lessons, and I've learned a lot of lessons through injuries and setbacks that I've had. So, did you have any other takeaways during that time where you weren't really yourself?
I think, like I said, I didn't realize that like mentally I was down, which sometimes I think is a little bit more scary than being physically down. And to don't be, I guess, afraid to reach out, which is really hard for me, or hard to ask for help. But thankful for the people that did, to kind of put that in my head, like, listen, you're not really yourself, and you gotta get your stuff together and get back on track. So just listening to people and relying on that, and asking for help, which once again, it's kind of funny for me to say that because it's hard for me, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely having that strong support group is definitely key in those,
For
especially in
sure.
those difficult times.
Yeah, for sure.
So we asked you a little bit about what you see the recurring themes with successful fitness journeys. What about kind of on the flip side of that? What do you see with people who don't succeed? What are kind of the habits that you feel like hinder their ability to reach those goals?
Well, yeah, on the flip side, once again, it's the consistency, not being consistent. I'll just kind of go when I can. I'm just gonna kind of figure this out for myself, even though they're giving me perhaps like a plan and something to go by. I'm going to, I've heard about this, and maybe I'll try that, or even when some people know what works for them, but they want to, just, I guess, experiment. Sometimes it doesn't happen in their favor. And I feel like some people do that too as a result of you're expecting all these these fast results right away, and fitness can be a journey, and it's a lifestyle change, and you just have to be patient with it. And I think sometimes that's what they're just expecting fast results. And when they don't get them, then it's very frustrating for them. And so I think that can be a detriment, because then a lot of times, and we've seen this, people just quit. Well, I didn't lose the 10 pounds that I wanted to lose, and or whatever that is, and then they quit on themselves. So
and it
yeah.
wasn't that the program didn't work.
Right.
In fact, how many times have we seen this? What we're doing works, and works for a long time. And then they decide, oh, I'm gonna, I don't want a food journal that's too hard. I'm gonna follow this latest guru, or I've got this new plan that I found from this website or whatever. And then they start drifting, right? And the results start slacking. I mean, and instead of just sticking by the stuff and coming back to the basics and working what's worked, they follow this new latest greatest, this thing they saw on the internet or TikTok or whatever.
Right.
And then, they're not getting the results they once were, but not because the program stopped working, but because they stopped working it. Right?
Yeah, and the fitness is definitely a journey with lots of ups and downs. And if you're not really focused on if you're totally focused on the results, it's going to consume you, and having unrealistic goals, because the downs are inevitable. You're always going to have setbacks and stuff like that you can't really avoid going through.
Right. So, and having, those attainable goals, is always good too. We see this all the time, and we make everybody set goals, because it's always nice to have something to reach for and strive for, and you hit that goal and on to the next. So, yeah.
So I just want to pause right now for our listeners and say, for those of you who may not know Coach Vicki, maybe you come in the afternoons, or maybe you're not even a part of us. Maybe you just tuned in because your friend recommended the podcast. But you don't know Coach Vicki. She is a well-loved, she was Coach of the Year, but she is a well-loved coach here. Tremendously wise person. She has been in that head coach position, and someone that I go to consult our business decisions, the direction of where we're going. Just a tremendous amount of wisdom. You get a lot of texts, right, about what should we do about this, or phone calls.
Oh, my dad said to ask you. I think get those sometimes.
Yeah. Check with Vicki. It was such a common response that there was a lady who she would decorate for us sometimes. And one time she called me and she says, I've already ran this by Vicki, so I just want here's what we're going to do. But a tremendously wise person here, whose wisdom we rely on, many people rely on. And she's telling us some important things. One, be consistent. Don't be all over the place. Be consistent. And secondly, dance with the one that brung you, as they say. Stick with what's going on. Don't chase every rabbit trail, every fad. Keep after it. And it sounds like you're also saying set some goals and keep pursuing them. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, as we see, you have to have them. Otherwise, you're just coming in and, you need something to achieve, and it doesn't matter how old you are or how fit or not fit you are. You need something, because gosh, what a feeling when you make that goal or you reach it. Just that in itself is, really great.
Oh yeah. Feel success, build success.
So not only are you super accomplished with the coaching aspect, you also have some DECA accolades. In 2022, you qualified, but you were able to go to Atlantic City, and then in 2023, most recently, you qualified, but were unable to go to some family obligations. And
Right.
currently you have the second time for your age group in the ruck division, which is the 10 DECA stations, but with a 20-pound ruck backpack. So how do you manage to do this all while being involved in church? You coach here with us. You have your own business, and you have 4 kids that you're driving all over the place. How do you manage to balance all those things?
Asking, how are you so bad?
Good question. No, you know, I have Chris helps an incredible amount with Chris, my husband, with the kids. The kids are a little bit older now, and so I don't have to, I can leave them home alone, but I just have to make the time. And I'll often say I feel like I'm kind of mentally tough. I don't like to quit. I'm not a quitter. And so I just, yeah, I'm kind of a little pumped up about this ruck thing. So I need to, I was just thinking today, I need to I want a smaller backpack, and I need to kind of start doing some of the DECA sessions with that on my back. And
Nice.
I want to get that time down just a little bit more. So, and I like to be a positive example for my kids. My kids like to make fun of me sometimes about my age, and I'll just tell them, like, listen, I could still run you around the yard a little bit, which feels good to say, and know that I can. They're actually getting a little bit better than me, but I can still give them a run for their money.
I
So
don't think you'd able to do that DECA ruck anywhere near
No.
your time.
No problem.
That DECA said, as Coach mentioned, 10 fitness stations for any of our listeners who aren't familiar with the Spartan product, and it can be done as just the 10 stations, DECA strong, and be done with a 160-meter run before each one. That's called DECA mile, or a 500-meter run before each station called DECA fit. And you've been doing that with a 20-pound backpack called a ruck on your back.
Mhm.
And, that's just one of the ways that you're a fitspiration. I mean, how many times have people come in here and I've held you up, and they've even without me even holding you up as an example, people who say, I want to be like Vicki. I want Vicki arms, and they want, you inspire them in your 40s. And I can't say the number probably, but in your 40s,
You're on our way down to the 40s. You can say it.
you're inspiring even much younger women. They want to be like you. In fact, I remember one lady told me, I'll join if you can promise me I'll have Vicki arms. To which I said, I don't have Vicki arms.
I did a fast track for someone where we sit down, go over their goals and set macronutrient goals. And I was asking her, if I had a magic wand and I could wave and in 5 years you could have anything that you wanted with fitness, what would that look like? And she said, to look like Vicki.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I think that's tremendous. I mean, your fitness accomplishments, like we're talking about in DECA, are tremendous. But what's really neat is people are looking up to you, and they're seeing someone who's strong, a strong woman. And you're not a dainty woman. You're not one of these little bean poles. You're strong. You're physically strong, and women are seeing that as, I want to emulate that.
Mm-hmm.
What a wonderful shift in our society.
Mm-hmm. Which is really great. I mean, yes, how important. I think I had said before, are we keeping it PG?
You do your thing.
I saw this little quote one day, and it's so true. Like, I don't want to look skinny. I want to look like I can kick your ASS. That's I love that quote, and it's so true, and it's so important for women, especially women my age and going into those we're just going to talk about, like, your menopausal years, bone density, just good for overall functional fitness. I wish and I hope that we can get that point across to women that you need muscle mass. You need muscle mass. Like, if someone's going to say, like, you look, which I kind of can get this complex sometimes, like, I don't want to look masculine, or I don't want to look like, what's the word that everybody uses? I don't want to, everybody says, well, not much. Yeah, whatever it is. And at this point, you're like, who cares? I mean, it is so important for women. Look it up, you ladies. I mean, all of the benefits, especially later on, like I said, with the hormone changes and all of that, it's going to be incredibly important that you have lots of muscle mass on your body.
Which means strength training.
Yes.
Lifting heavy things, like you said, for bone density to fight osteoporosis. And it means the change in your intake.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we get women that come in here and they might eat 30 grams of protein in a day.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Yeah. And you're needing upwards of 100 plus grams of protein. Yeah. And when I look back on those running years, when I was running 60, 70 miles a week, I was probably at least 15 pounds lighter, and I did no strength training. And if you see pictures, it's kind of night and day. Like, I mean, I just did not have that muscle, and I'm just really glad that I do now.
Yeah.
Because like I said, heading into these next years of my life, it's just going to be so important. So listen up, ladies. Lift those weights. Lift heavy.
There we go. There we go. Get after it. Yeah. And feel the freedom, right, to embrace a femininity that is strong. Strength and femininity are not opposites, and people, I can understand not wanting to look like a bodybuilder, right? I don't want to look like a male bodybuilder, but I can understand that. But strength and femininity can exist in the same person, and you're an example to that. Again, many women tell us that that's what they aspire to have that, and I just love that you have been that example to our people for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So, life changes and things get hard, and you're coming up on another difficult time in life. Your husband is, as we mentioned before, construction manager, and they've given him a job over 2 hours away, maybe 2.5 hours away. And this is going to be a couple of year. We don't know how long the project's going to take. And that's going to mean him either making really long commutes or perhaps spending weeks away from home. And but you're tough, right? You're a resilient person. Talk about that and the upcoming change.
Yeah, so he'll be running a job, like you said, and it's going to be a dynamics within the family of my kids. Chris is a really, really good, and I've said this so many times, he is such a great dad, and so it's going to be hard for my kids, and he is a big help. We kind of divide and conquer, especially during school time, the evenings, and and so that's just going to kind of all be on my plate, which is fine. Now it's my turn to be supportive.
Yeah.
And so I'm just stepping down for a while. For now, we're just gonna see how it goes.
Got the sabbatical, stepping into that sabbatical. July 16th, I think, is your first day.
Yeah, and so sabbatical. We'll just see. We'll see how it goes. But I just need to be there for my kids and really every sense of the word. And so.
Well, we say here family first, and we mean it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you, of course, need to take care of those precious kids. They're a gift from God. And, like you said, Chris has certainly done his part to be the supportive husband. And we want to allow you to be able to be the mom you need to be. And The average career of in the fitness industry for a trainer is only 2 years. You've doubled that.
No kidding. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Years?
2 years. Yeah.
Just 2 years.
Well, listen, see, now the average for a massage therapist is like 10. I'm on year 25.
Woo!
Wow.
I like that.
Double.
I like to
Like to double
I
it.
like to double it.
Bring that average up,
That's
girl.
right. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, so it's a tough thing, right? I mean, the clients break our hearts. How many times have we just felt heartbroken about clients that were making progress and quit on themselves or
Mhm.
came here for very serious things, health issues or, and their spouse isn't attracted to them anymore, mental health, and then they quit, and that's just heartbreaking for you as it is all of us coaches, and you've survived all of those things,
Mhm.
and kept on ticking, and even when we've had hard financial times, even when we've lost coaches and staff and had to step up, and you've made it through all of that, and so we are super grateful. I mean, you are a person that we can say truly, without you, this club would not exist. You brought us out of COVID, and many people don't know this, but even for a little while in 2020, when times were tough, you worked without pay for a while.
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
Without you, this club would not exist. And so it's our turn to support you, and we're happy to do that. And really glad that you're still going to be around and be part of the classes and still working out with
Yeah,
us.
still work out and and we'll see where this we'll see what happens
When the
with
time is
Becca
right.
and December, and
Yeah.
hoping to we'll see. Yeah.
Get you
Yeah.
down there and get a medal, get on that podium.
Oh man. Yeah.
Now, I just got to know this, and we can edit this part out later, depending on your answer. I don't know, but so when you're in class and we've got your replacement, whoever that might be, coaching the class, what are you going to do to them? Like, how are you going to treat these people? I want to know. What's going to happen? Are you going to do things wrong to see if they'll correct you? Are you going to go to them between rounds and be like, that's not right?
No, I sometimes feel, and I kind of felt this morning when I was working out, sometimes I can get a game face on and I'm thinking, ew, am I that person that coaches don't like? You know what I mean? Like, am I giving that face or that like leave me alone or
yeah.
no?
The answer is yes. You bring it right by. I've handed you weights before. I thought you were going to throw them at me.
Yeah. So, no, I'll be good. I'll be fine. It's
You're not going to torture them?
no, I'm not gonna torture them. I'm just gonna act like a normal member
All right.
if I can. I get a little. I've kind of said this, and I'm gonna have to be good with this. Get a little territorial with some of those classes. My little morning sessions, I've especially grown really, really fond of. But it's all good. They're gonna be in good hands, well taken care of, and so yeah, it's just another little turn in the road. So yeah.
One of the questions we like to end with is to say, hey, maybe Coach Alton and I weren't the smartest guys. We didn't come up with the best questions for you. We've already said how tremendously wise you are. How I personally, at Journey and running the business, always try to solidify, which you have freely given. You have saved me from myself so many times.
I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think you should send that email or that text or maybe say that at all.
There was one time where you even said to me, "You are not doing that."
Yeah.
So, for person of tremendous wisdom that we rely on here and have blessed us so much, what do you have to say to our listeners, whether they're members, non-members, maybe somebody shared this with a friend somewhere around the world? What do you have? What is anything that you would like to communicate to people that maybe we haven't asked you about today?
I mean, I think just if it's any, I think we've just been talking about this the whole time. Step out of that box. Get, what is it? Be comfortable being uncomfortable. There's just so many great opportunities that just can be missed. If you're feeling like you don't want to start that fitness journey, start small and just be comfortable being uncomfortable, which I have to tell myself all the time still.
Yeah.
Because it's easy for me to stay in that box. And it took me till I was about 40 to right later than that to realize that. And I think of that sometimes, some of perhaps the missed opportunities that I had. So just be confident in yourself and yeah, be comfortable being uncomfortable.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. We are so grateful. Of course, obviously, as we look to this transition where you'll be on the other side of the mic, on the floor, you will be missed. You of course have been a pillar of this, and we are so grateful for all of your sacrifices, grateful for all of your wisdom, for all of the lives you have changed and the clients whose lives are better because of you. And we look forward to when the time is right and the sabbatical ends, and see when and where, and how God brings that all together. But in the meantime, we just can't say enough good things and express our gratitude in words strong enough for all you've done for us. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And thank you for having me on today. And it was your first guest. So
yeah.
Fun. Thank you.
Well, if you would like to work out alongside Coach Vicki and be in classes with other great coaches like her that care about you, what do they got to do, Coach?
So the best way to contact us to join our program is through our landline, calling us at 260-723-5333. That's 260-723-5333. And the best way to contact me is on my social medias on Instagram at AltonMolinex17_ or on Facebook at AltonMolinex. And what's the best way to reach out to you, Coach?
I tell you what, if you want to get an individual DECA training program, we have DECA training that's working. Obviously, we have people like Coach Vicki that are training for world championships. If you would like that, or if you'd like some resiliency coaching, we do that anywhere in the world. Those things can be done anywhere, whether you want to train here with us or somewhere else. We can get you involved in that. Reach out to me at coach.ricardo on Instagram, or on Facebook, Ricardo Molinax, or again, that landline's a great ways, 260-723-5333.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Ricardo's Rules of Resilience, the podcast where we give you the tools to withstand and recover from difficult times. Go be resilient.